As you can see, we just got off the boat and already we see bear tracks.
Hazel Creek is one of, if not the most storied stream in the Great Smoky Mountains. From its legendary brown trout to the remnants of an abandoned town hidden along its banks, this creek has earned a reputation that borders on myth, and I wanted to see it for myself. Hey, I'm Connor, and this is Hollers and Headwaters, a series where I explore, fish, and share some of the natural beauty that my home state of North Carolina has to offer. Getting to Hazel Creek isn't exactly easy. There are two ways in. The easiest is by boat across Fontana Lake. You can bring your own, or you can hire a shuttle service that runs daily and drops anglers and hikers off near the mouth of the creek. The other option is hiking in, but be prepared. Depending on the route you take, you're looking at roughly 20 miles or more through the backcountry round trip. For me, the appeal at fishing this creek wasn't just the chance at trophy brown trout. It was the remoteness. Even though there are traces of human history scattered throughout the valley, Hazel Creek still feels wild. It feels like a place where the mountains have reclaimed almost everything. My day started early, around 4:30. I met up with two buddies of mine who were going to come along for this adventure, one of whom has a boat, which was very convenient. We made it to the Cable Cove boat access, where we were going to start our journey. Got everything loaded in the boat and made our crossing. Across from me, losing my hat about 5 minutes into the ride, everything else went smoothly. About 20 minutes later, we were stepping onto the shore. First thing we noticed, as you can see from the video, were fresh bear tracks in the mud. Thankfully, tracks were always seen of bears that day, but they are very common here, so definitely keep that in mind if you plan to make this trip. Once you're off the boat, it's pretty straightforward from there. There's a trail that follows the creek and gives you plenty of river access. If you spent much time fishing Appalachian mountain streams, Hazel Creek will feel familiar. There's endless pocket water, deep runs, and the occasional wider stretches before the rhododendrons close in on you and tight casts return. This creek holds all three species of wild trout found in North Carolina: rainbows, browns, and brook trout. You'll also find smallmouth bass and a variety of native fish, as you'll see later in the video. The fish here are incredibly wary. Careful approaches, light tippet, and accurate casts are paramount. Rushing into a pool or making too many false casts will send the fish darting for cover before your flyer ever hits the water. Fishing was a challenge. That's part of what made the experience memorable. Between the three of us, we landed 4 fish total, 3 wild rainbows, and a Goliath war paint shiner that you should see. Not exactly a banner day by the numbers, but honestly, fishing wasn't the only reason we came. Scattered along the creek beds are reminders of Hazel Creek's past near the old community of Proctor. There are a handful of buildings that are still standing as quiet witnesses to a very different time. What began as a small farming settlement in the late 1800s grew rapidly after the W.M. Ritter Lumber Company established a major sawmill nearby. This was in the early 1900s, and at its peak, Proctor was home to more than 1,000 residents, complete with a school, a doctor, and even a movie theater. Today, most of that community has disappeared, leaving behind only traces of the lives that once filled this valley. So after all the planning, the boat ride, and the effort it takes just to reach the creek, is Hazel Creek worth it? For me, the answer is absolutely yes. We didn't catch giant trout, and we certainly didn't crack the code on fishing. But what we did find was a place that feels increasingly rare. A stream with incredible scenery, rich history, and enough wild water to make you feel like you step back in time. That said, if you can spend multiple days here, or hire a guide who knows the creek well, I think you'll get far more out of the experience than I did on a short half-day trip. It doesn't take much research to see the caliber of fish that come from these waters when anglers put in the time and effort. But even if the trout never cooperate, Hazel Creek is still a destination worth experiencing. And I think every angler in the Southeast should take a trip here at least once. Thanks for coming along, and until next time, I'll see you out there in the Hollers and the Headwaters.